Like we said, we have a short Q&A. If there's any questions in your head, please keep them there. There's so much happened. I have a few questions I'd like to ask, and if there is any questions that you would like to ask, we can also do that, of course. That was beautiful. How does it feel to have this book now? I mean, the book has been there for about 15, 16 months, almost a year and a half. It is a bestseller.
Yeah.
At least that's what you told me. She's written 9 books. Did I already tell you? She's written 9 books. She tells me every day.
And he reads them.
Wait.
And then he goes through them.
Yeah, I read
and then
parts.
he said, "Oh, that's really clever.
Interesting.
That's interesting." And then he's got a new piece for the newspaper.
Yeah. You find that funny?
You know, the thing is, after, you know, behind every man with an opinion, there's a strong woman who actually knows. You know, it's like.
Or as I say, behind every woman who has time to think up ideas, there's a man with a job. Well, let's see. Let's see. Ah, there's only 3 people applauding. Or should I say, 3 men. That was beautiful. The Dutch edition came out about a year and a half ago. It sold immense amount of books. What are the reactions? What kind of reactions do you get from people who read it, people you speak to in all these organizations you get to?
What's beautiful and what strikes me is that I get reactions, people saying it's the new book for economy, so every student of economy should read it. Because
when you learn economics in university or whatever, you're still taught the system you talked about, the system with unending growth and no planetary boundaries whatsoever.
Apparently, yeah, that's still happening. So
we should burn down Nijenrode.
Okay, that's that. So,
just an idea.
I like to bring some nuance in the conversation.
Yeah, you're for the nuance. I'm just for the activism.
Yeah. But yeah, we should challenge that. So it's really looking at our narrative, also our economic narrative and how we do business. And at the other side of the spectrum, people say, well, it was really the book who helped me through my burnout.
On a personal level?
On a very personal level. So somehow this book talks to people on different levels. And I think that's the beauty of it, because when you go through transformation in your personal life, it's similar to what happens when you go, you know, in organizations. And to me, that's dear, because if we all went, I'm sure everyone here went through some type of liminality at one point in your life. So you know what you need. So you know what the group needs. So just, you know, get it going. We know what to do.
You often have, after you've done your speech, you spoke to the organization, you often have people speaking to you in tears. I mean, I know in comedy it happens because they just hated the show, but why do people come up to you in tears?
Several reasons. Somehow being touched by my words, or people say, you give words to something I couldn't explain, and now I kind of grasp what's going on. There's tears of hope as well. Do people find out that they actually need courage, maybe a lot more than they need the power which they already might have? Yeah, and sometimes that's a painful realization. That you need courage? Yeah, so that we have a collective lack of courage. And at the same time, there's hope. But when we were there together, there was an organization, they were talking about healthy food. And they said we need to eat more vegetables, so it needs to be a vegetarian diet, like 80% veggies and then some like an 80-20 diet, so you would eat 80% vegetables in a broad sense and 20% different stuff. Yeah. And you would even need farmers. Sorry. On all levels, because they give us the veggies. Yeah. And then they said we like to bring healthy food into hospitals. And that, to me, is like a no-brainer, right? I mean, but apparently that's very hard. Because there is contracts, and there's people who say, yeah, but I want my meatballs, and there's people who don't want it. And then there is this small shops in hospitals saying, yeah, but if we want to have like healthy snacks, then people won't buy them, and then we have a loss of income, so who will compensate me for that? And you know, so apparently it's very hard
to get healthy food into hospitals.
Yes, and then we were at this meeting, because sometimes we work together. I do the knowledge, he does the comedy, which is good.
I have the knowledge also. But I leave the knowledge to her, because she asked me to do that. And then I do the comedy. And then sometimes I come up with knowledge, and the whole audience is like, oh, I didn't expect that. And she is actually very funny at home. It's the last time we worked together.
We were in this situation, and we had like the whole system in the room, as they say. You know, hospitals and what do you call that? Verzekeraars, insurance
companies, fucking fascists.
Everyone was there, and then they came to this conclusion. And it was a Q&A as well, and people talking to each other. And they said, "Do you need more power? What do you need?" And then the whole group actually said, "It's actually courage."
It is the courage.
And that was kind of hopeful, but also like, but that's scary, because apparently we don't have it. So what do we do? Who's next?
Only one of the big insurance companies was actually there. They were all invited, because there were people from what we call the Westland, where all the, all the glass houses are and all the vegetables. They were all there, and people from the health and all kinds of people, politics even. And only one of the big insurance companies was actually there, and the rest said, "Oh no, we can't make it tonight." Sorry, do you remember which one it was?
No,
I'll find it out for you. And yeah.
But so we have to have these courageous conversations, and then get to the point that in this case it was like the solution to the problem was a no-brainer. The solution was there. We had the roadmap. We had like from A to B, but somehow we didn't get there. And then acknowledging that, and then work through that, and that's my hope as well. So people come, they're many times touched by what I say.
Often when you say people are lost, or when somebody says I am lost, people would like be maybe scared.
Yeah.
People don't want to be lost. They want to know where they are. They want to know where they're going. They want this dot on the horizon, etc. From your story, I gather, it's not all that bad to be lost every once in a while, and then have the chance to change, to do stuff differently, etc. That's one of the things you learned when you were out with Tristan. I noticed when you talked about Tristan and being lost, you did not mention I was there also. No. Not to make it any bigger than that, but I was there, and I had a tea bag. So it's just, I mean, these little details that you leave out of the story, and and you get all the applause and your best-selling stuff, and you leave me out, which really bothers me.
Yeah, okay. I'm truly sorry.
Oh, you're not. At a certain point, you literally say on this stage, you said that you are not political, but a lot of things that you say, and a lot of things that we will think about hearing you speak and reading the book, they are at least connected to politics, because that is where the decisions are being made. Why are you not political?
Well, the thing is, I'm not here to say, is it right wing, left wing. You can sense that I'm leaning more towards like human kind of systems. But the main thing is that what I notice is that my work, my field of expertise, my academic field in social sciences, has become political because there's leaders saying that we should dehumanize. That there are leaders who say that diversity is a problem. There are leaders who ignore that. So by saying, it's good if you want to build strong societies, we need to listen to all voices, suddenly that's political. It's not. It's how people live.
It's almost like your work has become political by just doing it, and by the changes that we see in politics.
Yeah.
What you tell, I think, for, I would say, all people here, they understand you, they know what you're talking about, they know the ways that we can go, they know that we are lost, they know that it's not a dot on the horizon, but we can find a way together. But it's also, it's not a simple thing to bring it across to, let's say, the people out of this room, the people who still vote for very right-wing parties in this country, although they know they can actually achieve nothing. So it still happens. And then today in the newspaper, there was a spin doctor for one of the bigger parties, and he said you have to make politics simple again, because a lot of people just don't understand what is actually going on. It's just too complicated. So if there's a guy with blonde hair and he says we go that way and it's all their fault, they believe him. Because it's a simple
they believe
thing.
them, but in a way we all believe them. And let me break that down. When I was ill, and maybe people can relate to that, when you're in a situation where you really feel lost and you don't know where to go, and if you have then someone say, if you just take this, you know, medicine and you'll be fine, you'll take it.
Because you're so down, you're so...
Yeah, so we all, as human beings, we're very, we're very easily seduced when we are in this moment where we don't know. And then we actually call for a strong leader. So also in organizations, so we say, okay, this is a tough... We need a strong voice, you know, someone who really carries us. So we actually ask for people who take charge. So it's easy. It's like the fear of freedom. We have this freedom. We can create everything. And you go first. What do? I'll give you leadership. Because then if you do it wrong, I can say he did it. And if you do it right, I say, I pointed him out. That was a good thought of me. So we want to externalize it, and we want someone to help us.
We want the strong leadership?
Yeah, but the thing is that it would be great if that strong leader, you know, did the best for all of us. And that's where it goes wrong.
Do you believe in Henry Bontebal?
No comment.
No comment?
No, the thing is...
That's good stuff. Should you be a foreign... we have a few political parties, and Henry Bontebal is like the Christian Democrats, yes. And he could well be Prime Minister next year, which internationally will be a problem because we just had a dig. We had a cock years ago, and now we get colorful scrotum. That is... Sorry. I just... There's one woman on the first row who's not laughing. I love this. That's even funnier for me. Okay, sorry. So we are talking about big changes.
No, and the thing is why I say no comment.
Yeah, no comment. No comment. Very good.
I don't feel in a position to you know, the only call I want to make is make sure that in politics, in boardrooms, at your family dinner table, that we have true conversations, that we speak truth to power, that we actually don't lie about stuff, just fair and frank. And then I get it that there's cultural differences there. It's not like be direct. You can use the communication style you like, but at least that is rooted in something which is linked to honesty. And if we have that, we can continue. And then, yes, Henry Bontebal is kind of giving a call to do that. Yet at the same time, then his views on how to deal with things in life and his answers to questions are not my answers. Yeah. But that's fine, then we can fight around that. But I believe that if we want to shape this future together, if we go through this messy middle, and I think we are, then look each other in the eye and be honest and say, okay, what's going on? And fix things which are broken. And if we see that, you know, the system we have now is damaging to the planet, it's damaging to a lot of people, then maybe that's not, you know, how we want to leave this planet. So maybe we should change it. And if that's a political statement, okay, then I'm political. It's just, you know,
but it's
be
not
human.
important, because what I noticed in the book and also in your speech, you only mentioned Trump because he called twice. That's the only reason. But you don't mention political leaders when you're interviewed about the Dutch version, and you will be about this version. You're not talking about a specific political leader. You're talking about a system, and like you say, we like the system. We sometimes want a strong leader. We want somebody to point the way and say.
I don't know about you, but when I was writing this book, and I kind of stumbled upon that feeling of being lost and realizing that the narrative we have and the world we created, that is not sustainable. And bring it back to me that how I live my life, it's not sustainable, but I love it, and I love the sky is the limit, and I love fake it till you make, and I love being, you know, but so it's really bring it back to your personal life, my personal life. Okay, so what can I do to make a change? And it's easy, for instance, it's easy to not do stuff you don't like at all. So you don't like to fly, and you don't like to go on an airplane and travel, but that's my biggest love. I mean, I love it. If I would follow my dreams like I was when I was 18, I thought once in my life maybe I get as rich that I can go to Bangkok for the weekend. I mean, that was like, that would be fun. And I kind of could do that now.
But you don't.
But because I... No, but because, you know, things change. And that's where, you know, when the context change, you realize it's a strange ideal. So I need to change my value. But for me, I really need to think about it. For you, it's easy. So if you're a runner, so let's say that running would be the baddest thing in the world. You know,
it's a very strange and totally inappropriate idea.
No, but if that would be the case,
like that. Okay, so running is bad. Okay.
Yeah, you should stop running. That would be more difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah. So
yes.
So it's easy to say change your lifestyle. It's easy to say, especially when it's the things you like. You know, so that's the conversations we need to have.
Totally clear. There's many more questions, but there's also a bottle. Is there a question in that part of yes, please? Yeah.
Jitske.
Yes.
Are you a leader or a trickster?
So it's the end of the night. It was very nice to be here. There's a bottle outside. And you can all have a drink.
I'm not a leader.
No, she's not a leader.
I'm a leader in my company. I'm a mother, so I tend to try to do some leadership there.
You have a relationship.
I'm a leader in my household, so I need to.
So she's a leader. Yes, she's the boss. She's the boss.
This evening is taking a turn. I didn't know.
No. He asked the question. I just help you with the answer.
In a way, I play the role of trickster, giving new words, finding new ways, posing a way of looking at the world, and it's up to you to decide.
You say literally, language is a carrier of culture. So you use language, you use the words. At least, you could say, to put thoughts in all of your minds by this speech or by the book. And then what people do with it.
Yeah, it's the next thing. So if in chapter 6, I describe the different archetypes which are needed in liminal leadership. And there's the leader, the chief, who needs to decide and create the space. And then there's the master of ceremony, which is the shaman or the therapist or the facilitator or the coach, the consultant, all those people who carry that process. I used to be one of those a long time. And the organization, Human Dimensions, my organization, we carry that role big time. And when I enter stage, I'm more like the trickster or the artist or someone posing something, hoping to trigger thoughts and then leave it to you. So that's a different role. And then when I would facilitate, then I shift to facilitator.
She has many personalities. many personalities, at least. Please, is there a question here? There's just a few. Yes, please.
Yes, so in difficult times, when we're lost in the words of society, we need tricksters to
Yep.
find our roots. So we follow them too. And when do you know when the trickster gets too much power and you have to leave him or her behind or tell him the truth?
So the question is, when it has the trickster too much power and you got to say, thank you very much, and then...
It sounds so simple, right?
It sounds simple, but everything she says sounds simple, but I can assure you it is not. When do you know that the trickster is somebody that got too much trickster and not anymore leading the way?
Well, the good thing is...
There was a question.
You got to figure out if it's a wild idea or if it's true, so you have to have that conversation. You need the tricksters, but don't make them the project leaders. That's the confusion we have. Set them aside, someone who does that. So there needs to be leadership in place, and there needs to be the question, is it true or false, or right or wrong? And how do you know to have that conversation? And many times you feel it. You sense it. You know it. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. No, that's why we need two processes. They called...
She could be a teacher.
No, but it's an ongoing conversation. And the trickster, it's not a job function, it's an archetype. So we all have trickster energy with us, and we need to play with that. And you know, if there's too much Pippi Langstrumpf in the room... Longstocking. Then we need someone say, should we really do that? And yeah, so...
Thank you. There's a question there. Yes, there in far away. Yes. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. You. Yes, you. Speak.
Thank you.
Yes.
3 words.
Okay.
I noticed democratic power was missing from your
That's a lot of more than 3 words. Sorry.
And what I'm thinking is that I'm also missing responsibility. You asked the question, you said, I even wrote it down because I thought it was very interesting. How do we know when we make them the leaders? You were talking about tricksters. For me, the key word there was we. We do that with our democratic power.
Yeah.
But if I think a few steps further, there's a sense of disenfranchisement. These
Meaning?
problems are so complex, it's too much. Our modern media shows us everything that's happening all over the world. We can't fix that, creating a sense of hopelessness, but do we pay attention to what's happening in our local cultures? Do we pay attention to what's happening in our local council? And because we don't, because we're more consuming with clickbait and whatnot, that sense of disenfranchisement is so large. You're talking about building community. How do we balance the two? Where do we get away with it?
I was just going to say, this is not a question, it's an essay, but it is okay. How do we? Do you understand the question? Because I do, but I thought maybe you answer it. Yeah, I mean, it's a very. We can also talk later at the bar.
This would be a good starting point for a campfire conversation.
Because it's broad.
It's broad, and there's the role of the media there. There's the big. So there's lots of things I could respond to. One is for me, it's make it small. Have this courageous conversation with the neighbor, and have that true conversation. Be aware that you're tricked by media, and be aware that there's people. Others, maybe you, who have interest that we don't know what's going on. And one of the trickster tactics, which I describe in the book as well, is making sure that we don't have time to think. And that's what's happening. And then the thing is that we love that because it's dopamine. It's fun, right? It's playful.
Stuff happening.
Input, it's cool. And you get experiences. And one of the things that you become liminoid. So you think you want to really change things, but you go for the rush. And then next weekend we do it again, and it's fun.
Ayahuasca.
So we're addicted to ayahuasca, for instance. Yeah, so we get addiction to rushes, and that's a trickster tactic. Plus, it's very good for economic growth. It's a business model. So there, it's a continuous circle. So for me, I feel that if we are all aware of that, and you are all aware of that now, you can't forget it. So stop it. Social media.
Yeah.
Well, stop it or be aware of it.
Be aware.
And how to use it. And if something pops up, so if we are in liminal times, people imitate each other and we share stories. So we parrot each other. So we all are in control and responsible for the stories we share with others. So your words have impact. Everything you say is impacting the conversation with the other. And every decision you take either changes the situation or continues the situation. So it matters what you repost. It matters what you like. And you could not do it or do it differently. And if someone is very vocal and very loud, and if it's in the group and you want to silence that person, sometimes the best thing is just ignore it.
And what you just said, it sounded like just an example, having a conversation with your neighbors. Just for example, we have, where we live, we have Israeli neighbors. And that conversation has started because it might well be that at this moment we have a different view of stuff that is happening in Gaza, in Israel, etc. We might well have a different view, but if you don't have that conversation, we'd just be maybe against each other, and we don't know. And they have seen our sticker on the bike or whatever, and they have an idea of us. So it's really important to have, if you can, those kind of conversations, even if they're maybe a bit tricky or whatever. Just that part. Yes, the lady in the middle.
Well, about these conversations, I think, you give us two options, right? You give us, interactions are important and decision-making is very important.
It's very good that you remembered that. That's it's very good.
I'm trained by a very good teacher. Anyways, these interactions, I think we find them harder and harder. And therefore, there is less community sense, and therefore there's more vulnerability on a society level on a big scale. But these interactions are honestly also quite hard. You need quite some courage and a bit of headspace to just, when you come back from Albert Heijn and you see this Israeli neighbors to not talk about, I don't know, the cat.
But about the real stuff.
Exactly.
True.
So, what big advice for day-to-day life tip do you have to look ourselves in the mirror and do that change?
How do you do it? It's complicated. It could be scary. How do you do it? This is a very important answer.
Yeah, one of the things is that what I'm doing at the moment, just ignore that arousal and take time to think and breathe. And so it's almost... I actually, like you said, when coming back from the supermarket, walking back, that's actually what happened with our Israeli neighbor when I was actually carrying my bags. And it's being in the moment. It's being human. It's connect with yourself and with others and take the time. Remember who you are. Remember, we're people. We have one planet. We need to take care of it. Otherwise, well, things go wrong. And every moment you meet people, so take a moment. And it's not about time. If you say, I don't have the time. No, it's about attention. It's about just have the conversation and have the courage to listen. And it may sound almost too easy or too, I don't know, it's like I wish I could offer more. But in a way, I truly believe that's it. And we need, if we go through big changes, we need what I call ritual time or magical time. And you need to create the space to have that. And don't wait for others, make it yourself. And many people say, oh, we don't have that time. Well, then transformation won't happen. I'm sorry, it won't happen. So in organizations, be brave, allocate 1 hour in your calendar for having conversations. Just see what happens, like real conversations. Just 1 hour. If everyone would do that, spread that as wildfire, and we have different societies.
Jitske Kramer.